What's up, everybody? Welcome, welcome. My name is Amanda Nybert. I am a registered dietitian with a passion for health and wellness. And I am so excited to spend hopefully like the next 30 minutes with you. I want to chat about the importance of protein, why it's your missing link, why you're probably not getting enough of it, the myths surrounding it, and how to optimize your protein in kind of the simplest way. And then leave a little bit of time for some question Q&A and tell you a little bit more about my lean program, where we focus on optimizing protein, eating in a caloric deficit in order to maximize your results. So like I mentioned, I'm a registered dietitian. I've actually been in the field of weight loss for 24 years. I worked in a clinical setting in a hospital space for 16 years. And then 2017, jumped in this online space and have been running my lean program, which stands for Living Energized and Nourished. And what I've come to learn throughout this time is that at the end of the day, the missing link or the common denominator has always been protein, but we just haven't been talking about it because we've gotten ourselves focused on the wrong things at the wrong time. For example, with the development of the first nutritional guidelines in 1977, our focus was on fat. Okay, so there's 4 macronutrients: carbohydrates, proteins, fats, and alcohol. Alcohol is actually the 4th macronutrient. So initially, because we were under the assumption that weight loss was solely determined by calories in versus calories out, we villainized fat. Why did we do that? Because for every gram of fat, you get 9 calories. For every gram of carbs and proteins, you only get 4 calories. So if we believe that in order to maintain a healthy weight and or lose weight, it is all about caloric reduction, then we need to minimize the foods with the highest amount of calories. And that was fat. We were also led into this notion that heart disease was driven by fat, cholesterol was driven by fat. There was all of this just misinformation, ridiculous science that kind of led to the development of those first set of nutritional guidelines. Now, we came to find out real fast, not fast enough, that fat was not the enemy. Fat does not make you fat. Okay. Fat actually fills you up and keeps you full. It actually supports a healthy heart. It actually supports your weight loss goals. And what we came to realize once we started to take our emphasis off fat, that, oh my gosh, it's carbohydrates. Okay. And we know that fat is not the issue because when those nutritional guidelines came out, we reduced our overall fat intake. Americans consume 25% less fat than they did prior to those nutritional guidelines, yet our obesity rate has skyrocketed, okay, since then. All right, so pulling out fat did make a difference. So we shifted our focus to carbohydrates, rightfully so, because we came to realize, okay, wait a minute, our guidelines are not working. All right, it can't be just as simple as calories in versus calories out, because if that was the case, we're eating less fat, we're eating less calories, but Americans are getting sicker and sicker and sicker, more diabetes, more heart disease, more obesity. And so what we finally realized is that, oh, there is this endocrine system. And oh, insulin is the number 1 fat storing hormone in the body. The second fat storing hormone in the body is cortisol. What role do they play in our ability to gain weight and lose weight? And we found out they play a pretty significant role. Okay, we now know that carbohydrates and sugars in excess create a rapid increase in your blood sugar level. When our blood sugar goes high, our pancreas secretes insulin to bring it down. Okay, if you get up in the morning and you have eggs and avocado toast, your blood sugar is going to go like this. You only need this much insulin, okay, which means that your blood sugar is going to come back down very quickly. You're not producing a lot of insulin, so your insulin goes away very quickly. Because what you have to remember is when insulin is present, you can only store fat. You cannot burn it. If you get up in the morning and you have a bowl of oatmeal, you have some whole grain toast, you have some cereal, a bagel, donuts, pastry, whatever, your blood sugar goes like this. And now your pancreas has to secrete this much insulin. And it takes twice as long for that blood sugar to come down and for that insulin to clear out to get you to that fat storing pathway again. So when we told everybody to cut out the fat, what happened is we created all of these like fat-free Frankenstein foods, and they pulled out the fat. And what did they do? They added a ton of carbs and sugar. So for example, when you look at regular ranch, it has 0 grams of sugar. But if you look at fat-free ranch, it's got 5 grams of sugar. So again, we kind of took out what we thought was bad, but we ended up adding what was even worse. I'm 47. I grew up on Snackwell cookies, fat-free Snackwell cookies. I mean, again, I thought I could eat as many as I wanted because they were fat-free. I grew up on 100-calorie packs, which again, were loaded with carbs and sugars. And so that's kind of where we got to this point where we have this epidemic of PCOS, of insulin resistance, of, again, diabetes, hypertension, cholesterol, all of that stuff is driven more by carbs and sugars. Okay. And so, yes, we've got this emphasis on carbs and sugars, but what we failed to really educate the public about is that really the missing link is protein. Okay. Because we know, like, how many times have you seen people fight about which diets work the best? Oh, well, low fat diets have the best results. Okay. No, low carb diets have the best results. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if your fats and carbohydrates are within a caloric deficit, because that's important as well. It doesn't matter if you eat low carb or regular carb, low fat, regular fat, as long as you're optimizing your protein. It is the lack of protein that throws your body into starvation mode. It is the lack of protein that reduces your metabolic rate. And so that's kind of what I want to focus on today, because obviously I work with thousands of women, men who are looking to optimize their health and wellness. And we do that through macro management with an emphasis on adequate protein in a caloric deficit. And when I start telling people, you need 100 grams of protein, you need 120 grams of protein, you need 150 grams of protein, they are just like, why? Okay. And how? All right. So that's what I'm really going to focus on today. So I want to dive into just some background about, what is protein? Why is it so in protein? How does it impact your body, and how it really helps your metabolic rate, your weight loss, and more importantly, your ability to keep the weight off. So again, protein is a macronutrient. Protein, again, fills you up. It keeps you full. It actually boosts your metabolic rate because of the thermal effect of the digestion of protein. It helps preserve your lean muscle mass in order to promote a healthier metabolism. And these are all things that are so essential to long-term weight loss. Again, I've been in the field of weight loss for, almost 25 years. And the thing that frustrates me is that so many people are so focused on losing the weight, but they're not focused on what it takes to keep the weight off. And when you are solely focused on weight loss as fast as you can, you are going to do it at the expense of your metabolic rate, making it almost impossible to keep it off. So whenever you go into a weight loss phase, you really have to be thinking about, okay, yes, I want to lose 20 pounds, but I also want to figure out, how am I going to keep that 20 pounds off? And again, protein is the missing link to that. Proteins are made up of amino acids. There are 20 different amino acids, nine of them which are essential, meaning your body can't make them. You have to consume them on a daily basis through your diet. Okay. Protein is the building blocks of life, of everything in your body. They make up your muscles, they make up your organs, they make up enzymes, they even contribute to your hormone health. Without enough protein, your body cannot function optimally. And I tell people, I'm like, listen, you have days, weeks, months worth of fat stores, okay? Unless you're super lean. All right. We have a lot of fats. Yes, there are essential fatty acids that we need in our diet, but we have a lot of fat. Same thing with carbohydrates, again, especially if you're carrying a lot of excess weight. Our body has a lot of carbohydrate stores. We don't have to eat carbs, okay? A ketogenic diet. We know that people can thrive on a no carb diet, but you cannot thrive on a no to low protein diet. And that's the problem. And that's why most people feel like crap, especially when they go into a significant caloric deficit, because they're not focused on optimizing their protein. You have zero protein stores. Your body must receive a certain amount of protein every single day. All right. So a couple of strategies that I teach in my lean program. Number one, we talk about calorie cycling. So you got to be in a caloric deficit to lose weight. Okay. So if your caloric deficit is, say, 1,800 calories, well, calories are different than protein. Okay. You could eat 1,600 calories Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. All right. That means that you have 2, 4, 6, 8. You have 800 extra calories in what I call your calorie bank. So then on Friday and Saturday, instead of eating only 1,800 calories, you could eat 2,000 calories Friday and Saturday, and you would still be in a caloric deficit. You would still see the same weight loss results as if you ate 1,800 calories every single day. Okay, that's called calorie cycling. And basically you can cycle your carbs, you can cycle your fat. Okay, I teach this concept to help my clients, find success on the weekends when we're eating a little bit more, when we're tailgating, when we're on the boat, we're on vacation. Protein is not that way. All right. If you need 120 grams of protein, you must consume that in a minimum fashion every single day. There are no protein banks. All right. When you have a day without adequate protein, your body's going to find it somewhere, and it's going to find it in these areas that I just mentioned. Okay. It's going to break down your muscle to get that extra 20 grams of protein it needs. It's going to break down your organs, deteriorate your organs to get the protein you need. I mean, obviously it's going to break down your muscles first. It's going to take it away from your enzymatic processes. It's going to take it away from your hormones, making your hormones not effective, making your enzymes not effective. So again, it's such an important concept to understand that protein is this essential macronutrient that must be consumed in a certain amount, spaced throughout the day, in order to optimize your health, wellness, and your overall results. So there are two types of protein. We have complete protein sources, all right? And these are protein sources that have all the amino acids, okay? They specifically have all 9 of the essential amino acids. That's why we call them complete proteins. And then we have incomplete proteins, which are plant-based proteins. Okay, that means that they don't have all 9 essential amino acids. So that's why I get so frustrated when my clients go to their doctor and their cholesterol is high, or they have high blood pressure, or they've got heart disease, or they've got diabetes, and their doctor's like, "Oh, be a vegan. Like, that's going to make everything better." No, that's not going to make everything better. I promise you. It's going to make it so much harder to optimize your protein as a vegan, because in order to optimize your protein, getting that complete protein source with all 9 essential amino acids, making the bioavailability, the usability of the protein at its highest level, you have to eat such a wide variety of plants. And guys, you ain't doing that, okay? I mean, most vegans I know are eating their vegan Oreos and, living on their bread. Now, that's not the case for everybody, but I'm just saying that it is very challenging. And that's why a lot of vegans struggle to see weight loss, is because they are dealing with significant incomplete protein. So the one thing that I would say, because I get it, like there are just, you don't become a vegan for health reasons. You become a vegan because you love an animal and you are all about animal rights. All right. But if you are a vegan, you have to make sure that every single day you are getting multiple different sources of protein. Beans, legumes, soybeans, chickpeas, edamame, tofu, tempeh, jackroot, just all these different things. And you have to have a lot of variety. If you're living on tofu 3 times a day, you're not going to have that complete amino acid profile. So complete proteins are mainly found in animal products like meat, fish, eggs, and dairy. That's why I love a vegetarian. Okay. I'm like, okay, a vegetarian, I can meet you halfway, because I know that if I'm working with a vegetarian, then I can usually maybe they'll eat eggs, or maybe they'll eat some dairy. So I'm like, you have to eat, an egg and a dairy every day. Maybe they'll eat some fish. I'm like, okay, you got to do a dairy and fish every day. So at least I know they're getting some complete proteins, and then they can get the rest from their other, food sources. Whereas incomplete proteins are plant-based proteins like beans, grains, nuts, legumes, rice, seeds, quinoa, things like that. So that's kind of the different types of proteins you'll see out there. When we talk about bioavailability, okay, this is, again, such a very important concept to understand, because, when you have 10 grams of protein from, say, like tuna versus 10 grams of protein from, say, edamame, the bioavailability of those two sources is significantly different. So we have high bioavailability foods and we have low bioavailable foods, okay? So not all proteins are digested and utilized equally in the body. Animal proteins tend to have a higher bioavailability, meaning that they're absorbed better compared to some plant proteins. Animal proteins are generally complete. Okay, so why are they higher bioavailability? Well, they're all non-essential amino acids. They're easy to digest, okay, regardless of what you thought. They're easy to break down. They are in their kind of simplest form, and they lack significant inhibitors, okay? Whereas when we talk about lower bioavailability foods, like many plant-based proteins, number one, their problem is they lack the full essential amino acid profile. They also a lot of times contain anti-nutrients, which I'm sure you've heard of, like lectins. Lectins are the things in a plant that protect the plant. Okay, so the lectins are there to ward off animals from eating it, okay, because it's going to make the animal sick. So there's a lot of people that are like, oh, we should pull out all lectins in our diet. They're making us sick. And that's a whole different topic. But what I'm just telling you is when you have a plant that's tied to a lectin, again, the digestion of that is going to be a lot harder. They're generally combined with like carbohydrates. They're combined with fiber. All of that stuff makes the digestion of protein a little bit harder, okay? They require a more complex digestion, making them less efficient sources of protein. Now, there are a couple of things that you can do to improve the bioavailability of some proteins. For example, cooking eggs makes their protein more digestible, okay? Which I'm kind of like, who's eating raw eggs? But I've seen some gym bros down some raw eggs. Also, cooking and or soaking legumes can reduce the anti-nutrients like lectins and phthalates. So for example, a lot of people will eat like Ezekiel bread. Okay, so that's a sprouted wheat, a sprouted grain, sprouted beans, sprouted legumes. They are going to be healthier for you. They're going to create less inflammation, less stress in the body, and you're going to be able to digest them a little bit better. So again, there's kind of things that you can do to kind of get around that. Many plant foods I talked about have anti-nutrients such as phthalates, tannins, oxalates, which can inhibit the protein digestion and absorption. And so when we talk about high bioavailability foods, we're talking about, again, eggs, whey from dairy, chicken breast, turkey, fish, beef, Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, milk, pork, shellfish, all of those things. When we're talking about low bioavailability, we're talking about beans, lentils, chickpeas, quinoa, peas, tofu, tempeh, nuts, seeds, oats, rice, whole wheat bread, and hemp protein powder. So where you get your protein matters, okay? So how does protein aid in weight loss? So we know that studies show that people that consume higher protein meals, it makes them feel fuller longer, okay? So what you have to understand is the rate in which different macronutrients are digested. So, and I think this is such a good visual to kind of think about. And I was using this visual in my lean program when we were talking about blood sugar management. Okay. So, because blood sugar management is so important for your overall health, reducing inflammation, and your weight loss goals, because everyone is insulin resistant right now. And so that's a big thing that we focus on in lean. And we talk about the order in which you eat your food. So if you eat fiber first, protein second, carbs last, your blood sugar response to that meal will be almost up to 30% less than if you flip the order. If you ate your carbohydrates first, then your protein, then your fiber. Okay. The reason for that is because carbohydrates are rapidly digested. Okay. And I use this visual, and so many people were like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. Because everyone's like, well, it's all going into your stomach and it's all mixing up. Why does that matter? All right. But I want you to think about it. I want you to put a chip in your mouth. I want you to put a pretzel in your mouth. I want you to put a piece of rice in your mouth. I want you to put a piece of pasta in your mouth. And I want you to suck on it. Okay. What happens? It just melts away. All right. By the time, especially refined carbohydrates get into your stomach, they're gone. All right. There's no volume, there's no bulk filling you up. There's a reason why you can eat a gallon of ice cream. And there's a reason why you can eat 3 bowls of cereal and still be hungry, because by the time that foods hit your stomach, it's so rapidly digested. Okay. It takes about 1 to 2 hours for your body to completely digest carbohydrates. Again, that's why if you get up in the morning and you have a bagel at 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock, I promise you, you're starving at 10 because there's nothing there keeping you satisfied. Whereas proteins, fats, and fibers take 4 to 5 hours to digest. Okay, think about it on Saturday when you're like, oh, I'm going to make a big breakfast today, or you go out for brunch and you have bacon and eggs and avocado and, I mean, yes, maybe you even have toast or whatever, and you're stuffed. Okay, you're full. Like you don't even think about food until noon or 1 o'clock. And again, it's because you've had a good portion of protein, fiber, and fat. Okay. So protein is going to sit so much heavier in your stomach and it's going to stay with you so much longer. And it always makes me laugh because the first week of lean, we call prep week. And it's the first time that my clients are really like trying to optimize their protein levels. And every night you check in lean, it's a very high accountability program. So every night you check in, you're like, I had a good day, I had a bad day, here are my macros, what do I need to change? And it never fails during prep week. People are like, I'm so full, I'm so stuffed, I just can't eat anymore. And I'm like, well, isn't that the point? Like, isn't that what we want? To not be hungry all day, to eat 3 meals a day and feel full and satisfied? And when you prioritize protein and fiber, that's what happens. All right. So it fills you up. It keeps you full. It takes snacking out of the game. Guys, snacking 6 small meals a day was the other massive flaw that came out of the first set of nutritional guidelines. All right. It did not increase our metabolism. It only made us more obese. So we have to get back to 3 solid meals a day, maybe 3 solid meals, 1 snack a day, because the less you snack, the less you nibble and graze, the better your blood sugar response is, the lower your insulin levels are, and the more you're burning fat. It's all a snowball effect. So again, protein fills you up. It keeps you full. Protein affects your hunger hormones. All right. It decreases ghrelin. So ghrelin, is your hunger hormone. All right. And it actually increases a peptide, YY. And that's a hormone that helps you feel full and satisfied after meals. So it gives you that kind of hormone balance that you're looking for. There is this hypothesis, and it's called the protein leverage hypothesis. And many academia, scientists, whatever you want to call them, that have researched this hypothesis have said that there's actually these hormone signals in the body that your body will continue to ask for food until it reaches its minimum protein needs. Okay. So I want you to think about that. You're like, how does that work? So when you're eating very high carb, because if you're not eating protein, what are you eating? You're eating a ton of carbs. So when you're eating very high carb, low protein, I know for me, my hunger, I'm just constantly hungry. Like all I want to do is eat. I eat, and an hour later, I want to eat again. And an hour later, I want to eat again. Number one, it's because your body is rapidly digesting those carbohydrates. Number two is your body is like, I haven't gotten my protein yet. So you got to keep eating. And that's fine. If you want to eat a slice of bread that has 3 grams of protein, then good. I'm going to ask you to eat 20 of them. Okay. Because I need a lot of protein. Or you can sit down to 3 ounces of chicken, 4 ounces of chicken, you're done. You're full and satisfied. That hunger hormone goes away. So you're going to see that and think about that. Like if you have rapid, constant hunger, think, have I gotten my protein in today? Did I hit my protein goal at my breakfast? Do I need more protein? Because it's probably your body just signaling you need more protein. So that's one of the ways that protein helps with weight loss. Another way is the thermic effect of food, TEF. So the body uses energy to digest, absorb, and metabolize food. Protein has the highest thermic effect of all three macronutrients. Now, I just mentioned 6 small meals a day. So it makes me laugh because the first set of nutritional guidelines were based on zero science. I mean, zero. Okay. I mean, it was basically, again, a lot of assumptions. All right. We assume that this whole, weight thing is calories in versus calories out. All right. We assume that this whole weight thing is all about metabolic rise. Okay. And so one of the assumptions that we made is that eating increases your metabolism. So when you eat a meal, if you're hooked up to, a calorimetry, whatever detector or whatever, it will show that you will burn more calories when you're eating and digesting food. And so again, the theory was that, oh, well, if we're burning calories while we eat, instead of eating 3 meals a day, let's eat 6. That's going to increase our metabolic rate. And yes, to some extent, that will do that, okay? Because again, when we eat, our metabolism goes up. But 2 things happen, okay? So we told everybody to eat 6 small meals a day. All right, so that was number 1. Then we told them what was at the top of the pyramid. Don't eat a lot of protein and don't eat any fat. So don't eat a lot of the foods that are actually going to fill you up and keep you full. All right, let's eat a lot of carbohydrates. Okay. And so now we're eating 6 small meals a day, and we're eating oatmeal, and we're eating, Snackwell cookies, and we're eating 100-calorie snack packs. And what happened is then we had this massive blood sugar response. So prior to 1977, we had breakfast at 8, lunch at noon, dinner at 5:30. I mean, I'm 47. I remember coming home from school, asking my mom for a snack, and she would say, no, you're going to ruin your dinner. Nowadays, it's like if we don't feed our kids every 2 hours, they're going to die. But then we sit them down to chicken and broccoli at 7 o'clock, and they don't want to eat. Well, because they just had a bowl of goldfish an hour ago. So that meal pattern has served us well for a really long time. So instead, we went to 6 small meals a day. So every time you eat, you have a blood sugar response. So now we have a blood sugar response at 6, and then at 9, and at noon. So basically, we went from 3 blood sugar spikes a day. So we had periods where we're storing fat and periods where we're burning fat, to basically just eating all day long. Our blood sugar levels are high all day long. And now our insulin levels are high all day long, and we're storing fat and not burning fat. Hold on one second. Sorry about that. My stereo system just started playing some music. So, okay, what was I talking about? Oh, I was talking about the 6 small meals a day. So again, we've got to get away from 6 small meals a day. We've got to get back to 3 meals a day. We've got to focus on high protein, high fiber foods, because again, the thermic effect of protein, it takes 20 to 30% of the calories from the protein source in which you just ate to digest the food, where it only takes 5 to 10% of the calories from carbohydrates, 0 to 3 calories for fats. Okay. So when you're eating a protein, and I hate using the word high protein because I'm not promoting a high protein diet. I'm promoting a protein adequate diet. Okay. So when you're eating adequate protein at each meal, you're going to get a higher thermic effect because of the fact that you're getting adequate protein in that meal, balancing out your carbs, balancing out your fats. The last way that protein helps aid in weight loss is by preserving your lean muscle mass. And I just cannot tell you guys how important this is, okay? When you are on a weight loss journey, you need to be on a fat loss journey. Because if you are on a weight loss journey, then you do not care what you're losing. You only care to see the number on the scale moving. And you do not care about what it's going to take to keep that weight off, okay? And if you only care about seeing the scale move and you're not worried about how you're going to keep it off, then you're going to be on a yo-yo diet. You're going to gain and lose the same 20 pounds, because when you're on a fat loss journey, that's what you have to focus on, is losing fat. And this is how I explain it to my lean clients. I'm like, your body has two options. It can burn fat or it can find protein. It can't do both. Okay. So if you want to make sure that every pound that you are losing is fat and not lean muscle mass, which is your metabolic powerhouse, building lean muscle mass is so incredibly hard that every ounce of your being, every age of your life, you should be focused on, number one, maintaining every morsel of muscle that you currently have. And then number two, trying to add more. All right. But if you are not feeding your body adequate amounts of protein, then your body shuts down fat metabolism and you are breaking down muscle and tissue. So yes, the scale is moving, but you are losing muscle and tissue. You are not losing fat. So for example, everyone, the GLPs are very popular right now. Okay. And a lot of people are using them. And the downfall of GLPs, it's not the GLP that promotes muscle loss. It's the fact that GLPs make you not able to eat, like you have no appetite. And so people just don't eat. And what do they not eat? They don't eat protein. And so, yeah, they lose 20 pounds, but in the process of losing that 20 pounds, 40% of that's what the documentation is right now. Up to 40% of that is from their muscle mass. Okay. So what is, I suck at math. Let's just say it's 50%. Okay. Because I suck at math. So if you lose 20 pounds, it's 10 and 10. It's probably like 12 and 8. So you lose 12 pounds of fat, you lose 8 pounds of muscle. Okay. So when you lose that 20 pounds, whatever happens, maybe you go off the drug, maybe something happens and you gain back 20 pounds. Okay. So, and you guys have all been there. We lose 20 pounds, we gain 20 pounds. We lose 20 pounds, we're up and down. We lose and gain the same. We're all yo-yo dieters. But every time you lose weight, you're going to lose some, some muscle, but we want it to be as minimal as possible. But if you lose 8 pounds of muscle and 12 pounds of fat, when you gain it back, I'm sorry, you don't gain back 8 pounds of muscle and 12 pounds of fat. You then gain back 20 pounds of fat. And that's why the next time you go to lose that same 20 pounds that you lost the first time, you do the exact same thing that you did the first time, you don't see the same results because your metabolism is less, because you lost 8 pounds of muscle. And when you gained it back, you gained back 8 additional pounds of fat. So at the end of the day, again, anytime you're losing fat, protein has to be the priority. All right. As long as you get adequate protein, as long as the body does not have to go find protein, you are burning fat. You are burning fat. So you must look to preserve lean muscle mass. Lean muscle mass burns more calories than fats. Okay. So that's the, So that's the other thing. All right. So I'm 5'5", 140 pounds. I'm 22% body fat, 47 years old. Okay. You put another 47-year-old who's 5'5", 140 pounds, but say they're 30% body fat. All right. Our metabolic rates are going to be significantly different. Mine is going to be much higher. I'm going to be able to consume 2,500 calories and not gain weight. Whereas the same person, same weight, same age, but with a different muscle mass, her metabolic rate is going to be 1,700, 1,800 calories. Okay. So again, looking to build muscle has to, or again, maintain muscle, that has to be goal number one. And then build lean muscle mass has to be a part of your nutritional plan. Because if you can maintain muscle or build muscle, you are building and maintaining your metabolic rate, which means at rest, while I'm sitting here, I am burning more calories than that person that has 30% body fat. Okay. So losing muscle mass will absolutely lower your metabolism, making it harder to continue to lose weight. Protein helps preserve muscle mass. So I know a lot of you are like, Amanda, I'm 70 years old. Okay. I have bad knees. I can't lift weights. I can't do the things that I need to do to build muscle. Well, guess what? Simply consuming adequate protein at each meal, which I'm talking about, protein timing is very important. Adequate protein at each meal stimulates protein muscle synthesis, which is your body's ability to, number one, maintain your current muscle mass, but number two, actually build muscle mass in the absence of exercise. It all comes back to protein, guys. It all comes back to protein. So that is what we're focusing on. So let's talk about protein timing. Let's talk about, and I know you guys have questions coming in and I'm going to answer those, but, and I just have a couple of other things to mention. I want to talk about some myths about protein. But I want to jump in right now before I talk about protein timing. And I want to talk about how much protein do you need? Okay. That's probably, I'm not looking at the questions, but that's probably like the number one question. Okay, Amanda, tell me how much protein I need. So, this is where you're going to hear a lot of differencing of opinions. All right. But I'm just going to keep it real simple to you guys. And again, that is my goal in Lean. There's so much noise in the space of nutrition right now that I get it, guys. You guys are just paralyzed. Like, you don't know what to believe. One person's telling you to eat plants. One person's telling you to eat animals. One person's telling you to eat low carb. One person's telling you to eat low fat. And all we do in Lean is just say, we're going to keep it real simple because you're making it harder than it has to be. So the RDA, because this is what people say, well, the RDA for protein is 0.8 grams per pound of kilogram of body weight. That's how much you need. Okay. What people don't realize is the RDA was set, okay, back in 1977. It was set based on, again, preventing nutritional deficiencies. It was set based on survival, not thriving. All right. So don't argue with me that the RDA is what you need. The RDA is what you need to survive. Okay. I'm not on this life to survive. I am on this life, in this life, to thrive. So when we talk about what are you going to feel your best, how are you going to optimize your health and wellness, your energy, your sleep, your hormones, your muscle mass, you need, okay. And I'm just going to, let me show you the example. So if we use the RDA, if you're 150 pounds, that's 68 kilograms, multiply that by 0.8. The RDA is saying if you weigh 150 pounds, you need 55 grams of protein. All right, give it a try. Give it a whirl. Tell me how you feel. You're going to feel like crap. Okay. 55 grams of protein ain't enough for a 12-year-old. Okay. So your ideal protein goal is, the simplest way I can tell you, is basically you need 0.8 grams to 1 gram of protein per pound of ideal body weight. All right. So Google ideal body weight. Now, I hate the ideal body weight chart. All right. That is not how much you should weigh, but it's a great resource to determine your protein needs. Okay. I'm 5'5", 22% body fat, in great shape. The ideal body weight chart says I should weigh 125 to 132 pounds. If I weighed 125 pounds, I would be anorexic. I can't even imagine myself 15, 20 pounds lighter. Okay. That is not my ideal body weight. I am never going to hit that. And if you want to know what is your goal weight is any weight that gets you below 30% body fat, because your body composition matters way more than than your weight. All right. And here's the thing, because there are so many people out there that are skinny fat, meaning that they are of a healthy weight, but they have 40% body fat, 50% body fat. And those are the people that you're like, oh, did you hear Susie had a heart attack? Can you believe it? She was so skinny. Like, she didn't look like she had any heart issues. No, she was skinny fat. All right. So she is at the same risk of metabolic issues, heart disease, as someone who's, morbidly obese. So it is your body composition that makes it up. But in terms of protein, look up your ideal body weight, find your height, And that's your minimum protein goal. Okay. So my minimum protein goal is 120. I typically aim for 120 to 140 grams of protein a day. All right. So if you're a 5'2" woman, okay, you need 110 to 120 grams of protein. If you're a 5'8" woman, you need 135 to 140 grams of protein a day. All right. Simple as that. That's what your protein needs are. Now, I actually calculate all your macro needs in my lean program, okay? Because for most people, these numbers are really high. And I'm about meeting my clients where they are. All right. So if you're currently eating 50 to 60 grams of protein, which you probably are, for me to ask you to get 120 grams of protein, you'll give up. You're going to say, that's impossible. I feel horrible. I can't eat all that. You know, your digestive enzymes aren't there. You know, your body's not used to it. And so you give up. So typically in lean, we build you up to your ideal goal. Okay. At the end of the day, I can safely say, unless you're 4'11", everyone needs 100 grams of protein a day. All right. So that's usually the minimum where I start. Okay. I want everyone aiming for at least 100. And then as your body starts to tolerate protein better, it gets a little bit easier for you, we add more. All right. So that's what your protein needs are. Now, this is the other very important thing about protein, which again, people are doing wrong. All right. They're like, okay, I need 100 grams of protein a day. They eat 10 at breakfast, 10 at lunch, and then 80 at dinner. It don't work like that. Your body can't work like that. Okay. Your body can only optimize so much protein in one sitting. Okay. And it's not 20 grams of protein. It is based on your protein goal. All right. So I like to use Shaquille O'Neal as an example. So I need 120 grams of protein a day. Shaquille O'Neal probably needs 250 grams of protein a day. He's huge. He has tons of muscle mass. He needs lots of protein to support all that muscle, all that volume that he has. So he needs 250 grams of protein. So his ideal protein goal would be 200 divided by 3. Okay. So he's going to need about like 60 to 75 grams of protein 3 to 4 times a day. He can sit down to 75 grams of protein and optimize every morsel of it. All right. Now, my protein needs are 120 grams of protein a day. So my ideal per meal protein goal is 40. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, 40, 40, 40. Okay. I could do 30, 30, 30, 30. There is flexibility. I mean, you could do 30, 50, 40, 45. You know, again, there's a little wiggle room. I always say, take your protein goal divided by 3, and you can plus or minus 10. All right. But my body is not going to optimize the protein it needs. It's not going to optimize my ability to burn fat if I do 60, 60, 60 at 2 meals. Or if even worse, if I did, 40 and 70, all right, 60, I suck at math, okay? So protein spacing, protein optimization is another very important strategy that I teach my clients in lean. All right, so know your protein goal, divided by 3. And that's what we focus on. You guys have all done macro programs. Everyone's done it. And lean is different because the only thing we focus on is protein and calories. Okay. Be at or over your protein, be at or under your calories, because it is impossible to make everything else fix. And we know based on the research, it doesn't matter. If your fats are high, your carbs have to be low in order to stay in a caloric deficit. If your carbs are high, your fats have to be low in order to stay in a caloric deficit. So as long as you focus on optimal protein, your protein needs never change, and stay in a caloric deficit, your body responds. You can eat high carb, low carb, high fat, low fat. It doesn't matter. It's not that important. Okay. And when you put 30 to 40 grams of protein at every meal, guess what? Your blood sugar response is reduced by 30%. So again, when you eat, 30 to 40 grams of protein with your oatmeal, and then even better, you eat your protein first and then your oatmeal, your blood sugar response is better. You do not have to be on a low carb diet to manage your blood sugar. Okay. You need to learn how to balance your carbs throughout the day. You need to learn how to combine your carbs with proteins, fibers, and fats, and then you can enjoy everything. So protein timing, very important. So I want to give you just a couple of quick examples. I said I'm going to talk for 30 minutes and look, I'm already talking for 45 minutes because I can't shut up. But people are like, well, how do you get 40 grams of protein at breakfast? Okay. Well, right now, this is your breakfast. All right. You get up and you're like, here's my breakfast. I'm going to have my little breakfast. Ooh, 140 calories, but 20 grams of protein. I mean, I like that, but 140 calories is not breakfast. Okay. All of you get at least 1,500 calories, meaning breakfast should be about 500 calories. Okay. The reason why you're starving by the time you get home for dinner is because you ate like a bird all day long because you called this breakfast. Okay. So for me, this is not breakfast. Two of these are breakfast. Okay. I'm still at a 280 calories. I still have 200 extra calories to use elsewhere. But I've got 40 grams of protein. And this is what I teach you in my lean program, learning how to bring your food to your protein needs. Cottage cheese is another great breakfast option. Okay. 14 grams of protein per half a cup. All right. I'm not eating a half a cup. It's only 80 calories. That's not breakfast. That's not barely a snack. All right. I'm going to eat a cup and a half with some blueberries, with some tomatoes, whatever. All right. And then I've got 45 grams of protein. Okay. So, again, maybe you look at edamame. I love edamame. I put it in everything. Edamame is actually very unique, and so is chia seeds. Edamame is one of the very few plant proteins that have a complete amino acid profile. So this is a superfood. All right. But for a half a cup of edamame, I get 10 grams of protein. So here's the challenge. Okay. So I can get 20 grams of protein right here, or I can do a cup and a half of edamame for 30 grams of protein. So again, you're always going to have to eat a lot more volume in your vegetables, which is not a bad thing. The reason why your heart doctor wants you to be a vegan is because he wants you to eat more fiber. Okay. But you can eat more fiber while still eating animal protein because fiber is really important. But a cup and a half, 30 grams of protein. Again, love this Amy Lou, such a quality product. 4 meatballs, 16 grams of protein. Okay, so maybe you do 8 meatballs. All right, then you're at 30 grams of protein. Or maybe you take your meatballs and you pair it with some protein pasta. Okay, so chickpea pasta is very high in protein. This edamame pasta, 24 grams of protein. All right, you pair these two and you're easily at, I mean, now you're almost at like 50 grams of protein. It's almost too much. So again, it's like looking at your food, like how many ounces of chicken do I need in my chicken tacos to hit my protein goal? How many ounces of ground beef do I need in my burger to hit my protein goal? Okay, now that it takes time, it takes tracking, it takes understanding, but that's what we're looking for. Okay. I love this Carnitas brand. I use this a lot. This has 7 servings. Okay. This is, I think, the Costco one. So it's a big one. 20 grams of protein per serving. So there's 140 grams of protein right here. All right. So you're going to have what? A serving and a half. You're going to have 2 servings of this. All right. That's going to help you hit your protein goal. Or you have a serving of this with some black beans. You know, maybe your tortilla has a little bit of protein in it. But when you start to look at your food, curating meals with this mindset of protein, it gets so much easier. Okay. So much easier. Couple of myths about protein, and then I want to answer your question. Myth number one, eating too much protein is bad for your kidneys. It is a flat out myth. Okay. There is plenty of science that will tell you that if you have healthy kidneys, it would take 300, 400, 500 grams of protein consistently every day for a long period of time to do any harm to your protein. I mean, to your kidneys. Okay. The problem is that all the science that came out that was like, oh my gosh, protein is bad for your kidneys was done on kidney compromised patients. All right. If you are in renal failure, you have to limit your protein. Okay. My goal is to get people before they're in renal failure. Okay. You want to know what causes renal failure? Not too much protein, too much carbs and sugars, because diabetes is the biggest precursor to renal failure. Okay. So protein in even crazy amounts will not impact a healthy kidney. Protein makes you bulky. Myth number 2. And it almost makes me laugh because I'm like, oh my gosh, if people only really understood how hard it is to get bulky, it is just not that simple. All right. If you're eating a lot of protein and you're getting bulky, it's because you're eating too many calories, which happens. All right. Because there are a lot of protein sources that are high in fat. All right. So a lot of people, again, in my lean program, they'll be like, Amanda, I'm eating all this protein and it's making my calories go through the roof. And when I look at their macros, I show them, I'm like, it ain't the protein that's causing your calories to go high. It's all this fat. It's because you're eating 80-20 ground beef, switch to 93-7. All right. It's because you're eating a ton of eggs. Let's do 1 or 2 eggs and a bunch of egg whites. All right. It's because you're eating, a ton of avocados, or, you're eating a ton of like sausages and bacon and, hamburgers, like, again, high fat meats, which we want to limit high fat meats. We want to use lean meats as much as possible. So protein does not make you bulky. Okay. If you're getting bulky and as you start to increase your protein intake, it's a calorie issue. It's not a protein issue. You can only absorb a certain amount of protein at a meal, and that is true. Okay. But the myth is that it's 20 grams. Okay. It's not. It varies for every single person. Your protein optimization rate will vary based on your protein needs. Okay. The last myth is that as you age, you need less protein. It's the opposite, guys. The older you get, the more protein you need. You want to know why? Because our body is broken down and it ain't working. So our body's ability to utilize 20 grams of protein is not the same as when we were 20 years old. If you're 20 years old and you eat 20 grams of protein, your body is going to just use it all. All right. When you're 60 and you eat 20 grams of protein, your body is like, it might use 16 grams. Okay. It might use 17 grams, 18 grams. It will not use all 20 grams. So because your utilization rate reduces as you get older, you need more to make up for that. Again, if you need 120 grams of protein, maybe at 70, you need 140 grams of protein because 20 of it you may not properly absorb. So again, as you get older, you need more protein, okay, versus when you're younger. And then the other myth is I don't work out, so I don't need as much protein. Wrong. You need even more protein if you don't work out, because you need to optimize that protein muscle synthesis more than someone who's working out, which is getting that muscle synthesis through working out. Okay. The only thing I want to mention, and then I'm going to jump in and answer your questions, is in order to stimulate this protein muscle synthesis, which is very important, guys, it's very important. You need 25 to 30 grams of protein at your first meal. So if you fast, that might be around 11 or 12. If you eat breakfast, whatever. And you need 25 to 30 grams of protein at your last meal. Okay. So you want to make sure that you start your day higher in protein and you end your day higher in protein to really optimize that protein muscle synthesis. Okay. Let me go through. Virginia Beach. I grew up in Williamsburg, Virginia. Welcome. North Carolina, Los Angeles. Lots of people from Canada. I love that. Pittsburgh. Welcome, guys. I'm so excited that you're here. All right, let's look. Let me get to your questions. I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to leave. So after the call, it will be emailed to you tomorrow morning. Okay, so you will get a replay to it. What are GLPs? GLP-1s are like Ozempic, Wegovy, Mounjaro, the really popular like weight loss shots. Do fats help the bioavailability, digestibility of vegetables? They help the bioavailability and the digestion of vitamins and minerals. Okay. And I love teaching people this. Okay. Because again, people fear fat. And I'm like, fat is not the enemy. Broccoli is more nutritious for you when you put butter on it. You want to know why? Because in order to absorb the fat soluble vitamins from the broccoli, it needs butter. It needs a fat. So yes, fats are very good. What are the fats that I stick with? There are good fats and there are bad fats. Butter, ghee, olive oil, coconut oil, olive oil. Get rid of the rest. I mean, sesame seed oil you can use kind of here and there, but get rid of the vegetable oil, the soybean oil, the peanut oil, the canola oil, get rid of that stuff. It's really bad for you. What percentage of daily protein intake should be complete versus incomplete? In the perfect world, the majority of it should be complete protein in the perfect world. Okay. But obviously we want to incorporate as many, plant foods as possible just to get the fiber and all the vitamins and all the minerals and the polyphenols and the antioxidants. That's where all that stuff is coming from. So, I mean, I aim to do at least one serving of complete protein at each meal. Can you help with dairy-free, high protein ideas in lean? Yes. 95% of the recipes in lean are dairy-free and gluten-free. So that's very easy to do. Keep talking. This information is great. Do you eat with your fasting 3 meals a day? Yes. So I do. So in lean, we do time restricted eating. Okay. I want you to fast for at least 12 hours. You can do that because everyone's like, I don't want to sign up for links. I don't want to fast. You can fast for 12 hours, 12 to 16. I don't want you fasting longer than 16. I don't want you fasting less than 12. Okay. So if you fast for 12 hours, then you're going to have breakfast, lunch, dinner, maybe a snack. Okay. If you fast for, 14 hours or 16 hours, then you're probably going to do 3 meals a day. So I typically have my first meal, typically between 11 and 12. I have my second meal between 2 and 4, and I have my last meal between 6 and 8. Yes. And that's what I'm doing. I don't call them snacks. Like you may be like, well, 2 to 4, that's a snack. It's not a snack. I'm sitting down to 40 grams of protein. It's a meal. All right. I'm having 600 calories every time I eat. It's a meal. And that's what it has to be, guys. You cannot hit your protein goal with snacks. And someone may be like, can you give me some high protein snacks? I can give them to you, but you ain't going to want them. You ain't going to want to snack on hard-boiled eggs. You ain't going to want to snack on beef jerky. You ain't going to want to snack on tuna salad, chicken salad. I mean, again, like focus on getting your protein at your meals and then have a snack, have some popcorn, that's typically what I do. 3 meals and then one fun snack, a Yazzo bar, 100 calories, very end of the night, a bowl of popcorn, in the middle of the day. I don't want to worry about my protein with my snacks. What is adequate protein? We talked about that. Do you use protein powders? I love protein powders. Yes. They make my life so much easier. I know some people are just don't love protein powders, but again, if you need 30 grams of protein and if it's 11 o'clock and I'm about to jump on a call and, I've got so much to do, I don't have time to make lunch. Most of you just skip it. Okay. That's what you do. You just skip it. And then you get to the point where you're starving. Not me. I grab a protein shake. I eat it. And that's I try to teach my clients, eat on a schedule. All right. I don't eat because I'm hungry, because hunger's like pain. Once you get to the point where you're hungry, you're starving. All right. You're never going to satisfy the hunger. You like eat and you're like, I'm so hungry. And then when you want to eat, you're like, what do I want to eat? Well, it's not going to be, chicken and eggs. It's going to be pizza or something because you're hangry now. So again, I make sure that I'm getting 40 grams of protein between 11 and 12, whether it's a protein shake, a meal. So all those things. Collagen protein is good. It's not a complete protein. I encourage my clients not to count it towards their bare minimum. Is it different for men versus women? Yeah, it is different. Look at their ideal body weight. Okay. If you're a male and you're 5'8", you probably should weigh 160 pounds. So you need 160 grams of protein. I love avocado oil. Many brands have stevia, which gives me a headache. I've been eating in a caloric deficit for years now. Where do I begin to change this without gaining weight back? Kelly, you're going to need a reverse diet, which I can help you do. What type of protein powder do you use and recommend? This is the protein that I use almost every day. I'll link it right there. I'm 71, 5'1". I weigh 116 pounds. I lift weights. I walk 5 days a week. What should my daily protein needs be? You should be eating 116 grams of protein a day. How do you feel about creatine? Everyone should be taking creatine. So again, guys, this is just a little blip. I hope I taught you a lot. I know there's questions in the Q&A and I'm going to answer those. But I do want to give a plug for my lean program, because if you're sitting there going, wow, oh my God, wow, this all makes sense. Like I have so much to teach you. This is just the tip of the iceberg. Okay. like creatine. Everyone should be on creatine. Okay. Every woman should be taking creatine every single day, 5 grams. So the lean program is a 7-week program. It is a high accountability program. It is not a passive program. It's me and you, boo. You have access to me 24/7 after prep week through the Ask Amanda feature. You're working with me and one of my team members. You get 4 7-week meal plans. You get workouts for modified, beginner, and the OG lean workouts that I do. You get weekly educational calls just like this on supplements, blood sugar management, inflammation, hormones, meal planning. I'm going to teach you my core 4, and so much more. Okay. I'm going to calculate your personalized macros. You're going to track, you're going to check in every day. I had a good day, I had a bad day. These are my barriers. These are where I struggle. This is what I need help with. I need restaurant ideas. Again, it's very one-on-one, very hands-on in a group-based setting. I have a session starting tomorrow. You're going to get an email today or tomorrow morning. Okay. Maybe tonight. It might go out tonight with a special code. Okay. I think it's a referral code. I think it's protein. You can use it. It'll give you a discount. You don't need anything. Next week is prep week. You don't need anything. We're just going to learn. We're going to practice. We're going to get our act together. And then we're going to start 100% the following week. If tomorrow doesn't sound good for you, I got a session starting on the 30th that you can sign up for today and get early access. But I promise you that you're making it harder than it has to be, and I can make it easy for you. So look for that email. Would love to help you more one-on-one in the program. What do you think about using protein shakes? I love protein shakes. I already talked about that. How do we know if we need 100 grams or 120 grams of protein? Look at the ideal body weight chart. Google ideal body weight. How do we build muscle, lift weights, and what else? Adequate protein, creatine, lift weights, progressive overload, adequate sleep and recovery. Can you snack proteins throughout the day? I have 2 meals of high protein, then snack. Yeah, I mean, you can. I mean, if you have stuff like that. Yes, I mean, I recommend that you eat no more than 4 times a day. I mean, if we've got to do 5, if you're fasting for 12, maybe 5. But guys, if you are nibbling and grazing all day long, it is why you can't lose weight. It is a blood sugar and an insulin issue. How do you determine how much protein we need? It's your ideal body weight, but I also calculate your personal, that's just a general guideline, your personal needs in my protein. It's based on your height, your weight, your age, your current weight, your goal weight, your activity level. So it's a big formula that spits out your exact needs. If I need more protein at the end of the day, I just ate dinner with 40 grams of protein. How long should I wait to eat another 40 grams in my creamy dessert? Ideally 2 hours. Yeah. Love coconut oil. Do you eat before a workout? I do not. I work out first thing in the morning. It is a myth that you have to eat right before and right after a workout. The protein I eat tonight will support my early morning workout. I was able to add 5 pounds of muscle working out at 5 a.m. and not eating till 12. We're not those people, guys. Okay. Like, those people are bodybuilders. They're in the gym. They're professional athletes. They're working out for 4 hours a day. Like, they have to eat before and after. It's not us. All right. And that's the problem, is most of this nutritional science, they're spitting it out to, a 47-year-old who does a 45-minute workout, 5 days a week. It doesn't apply to us. What brand of creatine? I have it linked in my Amazon kit. I'll put the link in the chat box here. I had breast cancer recently and now I'm on meds, can't lose weight. Do you think lean program? Yes, I work with so many breast cancer survivors. Let's see here. The lean program is amazing. Yay. Are looping beans a complete protein source? Not to my knowledge, but Google might answer that. Would lean be appropriate if you don't want to lose weight? Yes, absolutely. If you think I'm skinny fat, I've got a blood sugar issue, I want to improve my cholesterol, we can help you. I've done your program twice. It's amazing. Yay. Just finished lean. It's awesome. Do you like overnight oatmeal with protein powder? Yes. As long as it has 30 to 40 grams of protein, I like it. I'm starting lean tomorrow. That's awesome. Amanda and her staff are amazing. Oh, I love you guys. What is the 5-day sampler? I had a 5-day preview about a month ago. I'm probably not going to have one until next year. So I'm sorry you missed that. You got to follow along. I'm going to put my Amazon kit right here. Grab it right now because I'm about to jump off. And that has my creatine in it. Also, I have a blog post on creatine on my website. Message me, email me. Do you give recs on how to use weight machines in the lean program? Yes, I do. Avocado oil, yes. Olive oil, avocado oil, coconut oil. Did I not say avocado oil? Everyone's asking about avocado oil. Great info. I follow you on IG. Love the 5-day preview. Okay, guys. Yay. If you're watching this on the replay, you have any questions, shoot me an email. Good Lord, don't DM me on Instagram. I mean, it will get lost. So message me on via email. Jump in my lean program, message me in the app. We'll be little buddies. And I want to just help you guys simplify nutrition for weight loss. So, all right, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.